Let's go ahead and get started since we do have a lot of exciting information to cover. Now, allow me to introduce to you our speaker for today who will lead the presentation, the Technical Marketing Engineer of Education Business Unit of Foxit Software, Daniel Godfrey.
Thank you, Eunice. Appreciate that. All right. Yeah, thank you. Hello, my name is Daniel Godfrey, technical marketing engineer at Foxit Software, like Eunice had said. I just really want to thank everyone for joining me for this discussion and demo today, so we can talk a little bit more about maintaining equity in digital learning with Foxit accessibility tools. The education sector has changed so much in the past couple of years, with COVID and schools moving towards digital learning more and more. It's very important to remember that equity is an important part of education, and that giving students the proper tools for them to learn, and giving teachers the proper tools for them to teach, and also giving administrators the proper tools to administer the best they can to their school. Foxit offers accessibility tools that help every level of education and every person in education. We have many individuals in the United States and around the world who require accessibility tools to be able to address the information in documents, whether it be reading text, looking at images, or interacting with buttons and forms. There's a lot of information that will obviously be missed without this accessibility tool. So yeah, again, thank you everyone for joining me to talk a little bit more about this. So just for the agenda for today, just short introduction, who I am, who Foxit is, what we do here, and what we're trying to do with this presentation today. I'll go over that. We're going to go into a document accessibility discussion. So it's just a quick discussion about what document accessibility is, why you should worry about it, why you should care about it, who it helps, and also why Foxit is a great tool if you were looking for making your any document accessible, any format or file type, images, scanned documents. Why you should choose Foxit for doing that, because we really do offer a great tool that saves administrators and teachers and students a lot of time. After a quick discussion of that, we're also going to go through an accessibility walkthrough. So I'm actually going to live demo our accessibility tool, so we can show everyone how it works, what different document file types you might come up against, and how you can address issues with very particular document types, or specific specific objects like tables and pictures and things like that. I included in the chat a link to our the document that we'll be using today. So if you go to your chat, you'll find the first link that's posted in there is to the document. The second link is actually a web page for a free trial. So if you have yet to download Foxit, you can go to that website and download the version you were looking for. I'll tell you that our most feature-rich version is our Windows version in terms of accessibility. So if you want to be able to walk through step by step everything we're doing right now, you can actually download the document as well. And kind of click through what we're doing, kind of see how it works on your end, and it might help you figure out your questions and things like that. But yeah, so all you have to do is sign up for that free trial, and it downloads pretty quickly. So hopefully you'll be able to get it downloaded and installed before we get to the walkthrough, so you can kind of join us with that. But yeah, then after that, we're going to do a wrap up and Q&A. So if you have some questions during the presentation, write them down in in our question and answer category, and we'll try to address them either while we're oh yeah, sorry, let's start the transcript. If Eunice can start that transcript, that'd be great. Oh, sorry. Are we able to start a transcript, Eunice, by chance?
Yep, working on that, Daniel. You can go ahead and proceed. Yep.
Thank you. Important transcript for accessibility demonstration, of course. But yeah, so we'll be able to ask a couple questions. We can go back to the document, take a look at how certain tools work. Any confusion that there might be. This is definitely an advanced tool, so there's probably going to be a couple of questions. So yeah, feel free to throw them in our Q&A, and we'll address them as we can. All right, so let's get started here. Introduction of me. So, hello, my name is Daniel Godfrey. Like I said, technical marketing engineer at Foxit Education. So we are the education team of Foxit PDF editing, Foxit Incorporated. We do PDF editor technologies. We do e-sign technologies. We also do enterprise level technology for documents. Processing bulk documents and things like that. I work directly with school ITs to deploy Foxit PDF solutions throughout their campuses across all devices and platforms. So we have products on Windows, Mac, online, so you through a web browser or a Chromebook, something like that, and mobile. So and I help schools to deploy these software. I also help them to train their faculty and sometimes students if they're interested in how to use these technologies. So a lot of people kind of are used to the the most basic tools for PDFs and documents, just because that's the most commonly used. But there's a lot of really advanced tools like the accessibility tool that we like to uptrain schools on, and it obviously saves a lot of time for the administrators and IT professionals of these schools. They don't have to do the training, and they don't have to figure out these more complicated things on their own and then try to teach it. So we come in. Accessibility is a very common requested training session. So a lot of schools have started developing the whole accessibility departments and teams. Some of you who joined us today might be on those teams, or be an accessibility manager. So you all probably know a lot about accessibility, and might be preaching to the choir here, but I'll go over a little bit of why accessibility is so important in education, and how we can make things better. So accessibility in and out of the classroom. Students with disabilities face unique challenges, especially in using technology that is rarely designed with users' disabilities in mind. The way technology is created today, it's not always for every user. It's really for the key users, and sometimes students, or sorry, anyone with a disability can be left behind in that. So accessible digital learning tools are important to promote equity in education. So we require these tools to kind of bridge the divide between what students need, and teachers and faculty need to work with these documents. We create things like screen readers, alternate text for images, captions for videos, and a lot of other different adaptive technologies to help students with disabilities. Fundamental and sudden shift to online learning during the pandemic has required educators to adopt adopt to a new education landscape that is not always conducive to effective learning. There has been a lot of studies recently that have shown that there's been some problems with online learning that we're trying to address, and these issues are possibly nowhere felt more severely than in special education. They're the tools that have been used in the in-classroom tools that are now having to be replaced for online learning or hybrid learning and things like that were pretty significant. And the shift was definitely sudden and caught a lot of people off guard. We definitely need to adapt these tools to be able to bridge that gap, make sure students are keeping up with each other, and keeping up with their expected outcomes. And so accessibility tools again are a very important part of that, and are going to be probably more and more important looking into the future as things become more hybrid, and classrooms do move more online. We need to kind of make that jump, and these technologies are here to do that. So what is document accessibility? Document accessibility is documents created to be easily readable to sighted readers with low vision or non-sighted readers. So the technology is a kind of a guideline for creating documents in a way that assistive technologies can easily interpret the information and present it to the reader in the way in which they can interpret the information that way. So it's kind of a format that we have to create documents in to make them yeah, accessible more or less. So PDF, any document can be made accessible. So Word documents have their own accessibility standards. So if you're using Word right now, you may have used under the review tab, you may have used the accessibility checker. We have a similar product at Foxit. It goes through a list of criteria and sees if the document fills that list. Every document type though does have different accessibility standards. It's not one single standard that has been put out. There are guidelines like Section 508 that dictate what should be required for accessible technology. But there's not really a single body or anything that is defining exactly how a technology can make a document accessible. So every format does have its own checks. PDF documents, though, are commonly used in education to present lessons, deliver assignments, and collect important information. So, everyone has used PDF documents before, whether it be to deliver a test or collect data from students in the terms of forms, or collect data from parents, collect signatures, things like that. They're very commonly used. So it's definitely important that you have a PDF accessibility checker for PDF and accessibility editor for PDFs, because these are documents that are commonly stored on websites that students and faculty and the teachers parents are expected to grab, fill out, understand. So we need to make sure these PDF documents are accessible. PDF documents need to be created using criteria to function properly with technologies like screen readers and magnifiers. So documents aren't inherently accessible, right? So and just because the document has a readable, like a screen readable text, does not mean it reaches the level of accessibility. There are a lot of standards for it, which include the other media types like images. Some people might think, oh, like if someone's visually impaired, the image doesn't matter, right? Well, the information in that image definitely matters. So we need things like alternative text to make sure that all of the information is being conveyed to any reader, whether or not they have a visual impairment. So yeah, so these are a lot of the these criteria include designated reading order, image text conversion, alternative text for images, and some other things like color contrast and there's a couple other there's a lot of different things. We'll go through that in the actual demo, all the different things we're gonna have to consider for accessible documents. But yeah, so why should you make documents accessible? A lot of reasons. Main one is that there's 6.4 million people in the U.S. that have visual disability, including complete or partial blindness and color blindness. A lot of schools, have low numbers of students with visual impairments. A lot of students will will have special education courses where that is more the higher level or higher number of students with visual disabilities. But many classrooms have students that have partial blindness, color blindness is very common in schools. The accessibility editor does address these things. And there's also, it's not just your students, it's also parents and faculty. A lot of parents have visual disabilities, and we might need them to review documents or sign documents or anything like that. It's very important. So it might be very important that we have all of our documents made accessible, even if we have very low numbers or no students with disabilities. There's always parents or faculty that are going to require these accessible documents. So it's very important for that in that regard. Accessible documents can help schools adapt to new hybrid and full-time learning, online learning. So again, that shift that everyone has had to deal with to hybrid and full-time online learning was pretty significant. We're a lot of people are getting back in the classroom, which is great. We're getting back to our our old ways of teaching. But a lot of places continue doing the full-time learning, and a lot of people have changed their lifestyle around it, and it's something that will continue to grow as we look into the future of education technology. And in terms of our reaction to things like COVID, that might not be the last time that happens. We might be seeing this happen more often, and we need to be adapted to it before it happens rather than after. But yeah, so that's definitely a great reason to have more adaptive technologies. Also, not only students, but parents, again, faculty can benefit from accessible documents. So everyone benefits. It's not just students that you might be required to provide these documents for. It might also be your students, or sorry, parents, faculty, anyone who might have to fill out or look at documents that are required for certain activities and things like that. But yeah, many other great reasons just to be a reasonably accommodating school, and make sure that you're taking care of everyone. So why should I use Foxit for document accessibility? So yeah, Foxit in particular, I think, is a great tool for creating accessible documents, specifically PDFs. For one, Foxit interface is compatible with screen reader technologies like JAWS. So if you are currently using any of these screen reader or many screen readers, they'll interface with Foxit. So the UI elements will also be very accessible, not just the documents themselves. So that's a great benefit. Also, Foxit PDF Editor includes an accessibility wizard that walks you through each step in making your documents accessible. So it's a complicated process, but our accessibility wizard makes it pretty simple. It takes you through each step one by one. Some of them are automated, so they're pretty quick. Some of them do require a little bit of human intervention. So, but each step is ensured to be checked off. We also have a PDF documents are easily shared and do not require proprietary software. Creating documents in certain file types might have problems with sending and sharing because the proprietary issues, like with Word, their file type is, you have to have Word or something that can open Word, but sometimes those things don't necessarily interact with those documents very well. Some of the features might not be included. PDF documents are a little different. It's an open file format type, so there are a lot of different technologies that interact with PDF documents. There's less problem with converting or downloading or transferring or anything like that, where you might have a change in the document that doesn't really happen with PDF documents as much. So yeah, it's a great format for transferring data, especially these type of documents. So use the accessibility checker to verify accessibility of any document. So that's another great reason. We have a checker that you could convert documents to PDF, or if they're already a PDF document, you just open it. That will check for the accessibility, and so if someone sends you something and they guarantee it's accessible and you look at it and it appears not, you not only can verify that, but you can also make it accessible. So yeah, it's great reasons to use Foxit. And also, just the general Foxit tool is easy to use. It has a comfortable UI. So people are pretty comfortable with it if they've ever used Microsoft Word. It's kind of a similar UI. So people adapt to it pretty quickly. So a lot of great reasons to use Foxit for your accessibility tool. But all right, so that's kind of a breakdown a little bit of accessibility documents and how Foxit specifically does that. But let's actually take a look at a document and see how easy it is to make accessible. All right. So this is actually the document that I shared with everyone in their chat. So again, if you have the Foxit PDF editor already running on your system, then you can just open this up, and you should be able to follow along with what we're doing here. Oh, excuse me. All right, so yeah, so this is our document. It's a mixture of 3 different types of documents. I kind of wanted to give different objects, or an opportunity to see how different objects are interacted with. So this is just a simple form. It doesn't have any form fields yet. So a student with a visual impairment would definitely find it difficult to fill this form out, without adaptive technologies or without an accessible document. Just adding a text and knowing exactly where this line is very difficult. There's nothing on this line other than the name next to it that signifies what you're supposed to do here. No tooltip or anything like that. So definitely a flat document that's not very helpful for someone with a visual impairment. This is another document. It's a mixture of media. So we got text, different types of color text, headings. We have pictures. Oh, sorry, different pictures. We have different these are objects. We have all sorts of kind of different objects you might have to multimedia that you're going to have to make accessible. So this might be something that you are finding in a textbook, or something, a flyer, informational flyer, where you have a mixture of images and text. These things can be a little bit complicated for accessibility tools, or creating accessible documents. So yeah, I'll show you how we can do that here. Finally, just a kind of a simple invoice sheet with a table. So tables do have specific requirements for accessibility. So for headers and the data in the table, you have to mark it in a specific way. But luckily, Foxit PDF editor does a lot of that for you. So I'll show you that when I walk through this document. So there is two ways to make a document accessible, by the way. There is creating a document that is accessible from the ground up. So from conception, you are focusing on making it an accessible document. So that can be very difficult to do. There's a lot of requirements, and when you're putting together a document for a wide audience, you don't always necessarily need to think about the accessibility requirements for those documents when it's mostly going to people who are don't need that. But and again, teaching everyone how to build an accessible document from the ground up is very difficult. It's basically impossible. So the other option is to make it accessible after the fact. So if a document is not accessible, it can be made accessible. We could fit the criteria that we need to after. So yeah, that's all I'll be doing today. All right. So like I'd said before, the reason Foxit is a great tool for accessibility is that we have one of the reasons is an action wizard is what we call it. So right here in our under file, go to action wizard, and then go over here to manage actions, run actions. We'll have a option for make accessible. So this will allow us to make a document accessible. So we can click on that. Yeah, so here it'll bring us back to our document, and it'll open up this right panel right here that is our accessibility panel. It gives us a couple options to begin with before we actually start. You can verify your document. So this is the webinar accessibility document. That's what we're working on. But you can also add more files. So you can actually do multiple documents at once. If you are a person in your accessibility department and you are the one who does all the documents, you can do it in batches. Save you a little bit of time and don't have to do multiple things. The automated steps are a little bit longer, but yeah, it'll save you time in general for switching back and forth between documents. But I'm just going to do this one today to show you how one document looks. So yeah, once I've verified that my document is the right one, I can just click start here. And yeah, so the first thing it does is bring up this description box. So there's actually only one thing here that is required for making a document accessible, and that's actually the title. So we do so we do have to give this a title, because it'll the document reader will read the title of the document at the beginning. So sometimes the actual file type, or file name isn't really conducive for reading in for a screen reader. It might have numbers that are related to a date, or might have some barcode, some information that is not necessary for the person to understand the title of the document. So you want to include a title. We don't have to include subject, author, or keywords. It's also obviously very helpful for these things, keywords in terms of searching. So, when you store these documents, you want to search around for them, you find them easy. But subject and author are not necessary. All right, so once we go there, we go to recognize text. So this is our optical character recognition tool. So if you have a document that is has an image of text, or some non-converted text yet, this is the opportunity to convert that text. So you might have one of your files might be a image of a document, something you scanned in, or something you took a picture with on your phone, something like that. You might be converting that into a accessible document. So this might be the point where you need to recognize that text. Or even like if you included an image with some text in it, it'll convert that as well. And that's important information that you want to convey to to a reader. If text is showing up in an image, it should be accessible to everyone. It's important information. We don't want to leave out any information for any students or faculty or parents. That's very important that they get a full understanding of what's going on in the document, right? For equity and everything. So you have a couple options. Searchable image text is good for creating a smaller document size. So if if you are worried about document size, have a lot of documents, or your storage is limited in some way, you can just turn it into a searchable document. So you can search through it for your file system and everything. Or if you're searching, doing like a regular keyword search or anything like that. But you also make it into editable text. So if you want to actually go back and edit the text, this might be necessary sometimes too in making things accessible. One place that does happen is color contrast of text. So if you do have to have a certain requirement for color contrast, go over that a little bit earlier or a little bit later. But there might be needs in creating an accessible document to have the text be editable. So I'm gonna make this editable. So it'll do an OCR over the document and look through the document to see if there's any text that needs to be changed. Is this document intended to be sorry, the next one is form recognition. So is this intended to be a fillable form? Yes, it is, at least the first page is. So I will say that this is, yes, a fillable form. And what will happen is it's going to actually look for the form fields where you would expect to have a fillable form field and add it for you. So yeah, it's a machine learning tool that processes your document and saves you a lot of time. Again, including form fields is very important because this is the way in which a student would input information. And again, with a flat document like this where there's just a line, it would be nearly impossible for a screen reader to really tell you where to put the information. But if you have a form field or form fields for each one, you can jump between each field and just input it into the field. So definitely I would recommend that if you have documents that have these flat documents to do something like this and create a fillable form. So I'll show you how that does. Just does the same thing. Analyzes the document, looks for patterns that look like a form. So you're going to see a name, colon, and then a line. That's going to dignify clearly where we're expected to put some form field, right? So it does a very good job too. I'm always really impressed with this tool that we have. It not only tags anywhere you would expect there to actually be a tag, but it actually adds other data or other form field types like checkboxes. So these boxes right here were actually seen as checkboxes, and they added a specific form field for a checkbox. So things like that, it saves a lot of time. You don't have to add these fields, makes them accessible. It also adds the names to the fields. That's obviously very important when you're using a screen reader, because you have to be able to actually understand what the field is. So it provides a name tag there. So yeah, it saves you a lot of time, saves you a lot of effort. But yeah, so once you get your form field set, you have to set reading language. So the language is the language of the document. Screen readers don't necessarily have a language detector like you might have in like a Google Translate or something like that. So you have to verify that what language you're speaking. So this is English, right? All right, so the next thing it is going to do is going to be check for figures in the document. So a figure is kind of multiple things. It could be a shape, like different, we can add shapes to documents like squares, triangles, all that. It could also be an actual picture or an image. So this document has several images that it should pick up. But yeah, well, let's see how perfect it can be with that. All right, so it's telling us that we have 18 images. So that, as we saw when we walked through this document, that's clearly incorrect. It does not have 18 images. I believe it has 3 images. So sometimes when you are running through a document with any machine learning or AI, there's going to be wrong guesses. There's going to be flags. So this gives you an opportunity to check what they've discovered as a figure. So it actually it moves the document based on what figure you're on. So right here you can see image 1 of 18. It actually we can't see where the image is because it's probably looking at something decorative and thinking it's a image. So sometimes these like field lines might get tagged as images when they're just a field line. So all we have to do is tag that as decorative. Again, decorative, like decorative. I think I've had a lot of decorative ones on here. I think see, as you can see, sometimes these fields could even be seen as a you know, as an image. But yeah, all you have to do is tag it as decorative, and the screen readers will just ignore them and just see it as a shape that's, you know, designed for a background or something like that, right? So yeah, you just have to go through these. And yeah, it'll adjust your view based on where it's looking. So again, since we don't see anything, it's probably, you know, one of these semicolons it's picking, or these colons is picking up as an image. That does happen. You know, it's no AI or machine learning is going to be perfect or anything like that. But we are going to eventually hit. Oh, okay, there we go. So here's one of the actual images. It is the tag for the school. So now I could tag that as university. All right, University of South Carolina, I can tag that. I'm not going to tag it as decorative because it's actually an image that the screen reader should pick up. You know, if it's an available image, it should be tagged there. And okay, so we also have this one, which is a cloud weather system. So let's put weather in Napa, which is that supposed to be. All right, tag, and then again, it picked up something that's not actually a image. It's this amount right here. Don't know why I did, but we could just click it as a decorative and save and close. You may have noticed though. Oh, sorry, going ahead. You may have noticed though that it actually missed this picture. So you know, what can we do about that? You know, it's an automated thing. How do we go back? So right under here in our top row, we have this accessibility tab. This is where our accessibility tools lie. So you know, we got this panel open by going to our file and then action wizard, right? But these tools are actually also found in this accessibility tab. So there a mistake was made. Yeah, we missed this image. So how do we fix that? What we do is we go here to reading order. So we click open reading order. This gives us a breakdown of the order in which a screen reader will. Sorry, let me go back to where. There we go. Sorry, let me. This goes over what you know, the order that a screen reader would view the document in. So let me move this out of my way. I got the panel here. Yeah, so it would you know, something we can see there's definitely some mistakes here, but I'll go over that in a second. But the one mistake we want to figure out right now is how do we tag this image. So to tag an image that was missed, all you have to do is draw a square around it. And then it'll, as you can see, it's a little bit hard to tell, but there's a blue line now around this image. The black background doesn't really help you out. It's actually probably why it missed the image. When you have a really dark background, it can kind of throw off the algorithm because of the, you know, the lines are less defined, as we can see with this blue line right here. But yeah, so there is a blue line around that. So it's selected this object. So I can just click figure right here, and it'll now tag it as a figure with no alternative text. So I could just go back to my accessibility tab right here, and just close this out now too. Close that. And I can go right back here to set alternate text, and it'll give me an opportunity to fix that problem. So right here, there we go. All right, so I can set that now, verify that the other tags are still there. All right, and I can save and close that. So yeah, now that that's been mitigated, I can go back to my panel over here and resume. So yeah, so now everything has been checked off. We are now going to do an actual accessibility check. So this is something you could do on a document that you didn't, you know, go through this process with. Say someone gave it to you and you just want to check if it's accessible. This accessibility checker could be used for that as well. But since we've made this document, let's hope that all of the things were checked off. We have a couple options too. You can create an accessibility report. which will be put into your documents file, or my documents file. You can obviously choose where you want it to go. And or you can attach the report to the document, so it'll append it to the end. I'll just have it go to my documents file for now. But yeah, it'll be in an HTM, sorry, it'll be an HTM format, or sorry, HTML format. So you'll be able to access it in a browser or anything like that, or send it, and whoever receives it can access it. It's good to keep for records. Some places require you to have accessibility records. So it's how you can do that. But yeah, so once I have all the, and also up here, here's where we'll go over specifics of the check. So I can actually uncheck things if it doesn't really apply to the document, or if I'm not looking for that specific thing. So things like bookmarks, if there's no bookmarks, might not be necessary. Documents has appropriate color contrast. If you're not worried about if this is specifically for people who are completely vision impaired, or blind and not impaired, or color blindness, then you might not need to do that. I'll do it just to show you how that works though. So let's start checking here. All right, so once it does the check, it'll open up this little window on the right, the left, which is our accessibility check window. It looks like there are a couple of issues. So when you see an issue here, you can open up this menu, drop down tree, and yeah, you can see what the issues are. So as we can see, most of these have passed, but we got two issues here. One of them is logical reading order. So what does that mean? So let's say I didn't know what that means. All I have to do is right click on that, and it'll give me an option to explain. So when I click explain, it'll open up a second window that explains exactly what's going on. Which one was that? That was logical reading order. Okay, so check the rule manually to make sure that the reading order in the tags panel is in accordance with the logical reading order. Okay, so what does that mean? Let me go back to window here. All right, so our tags order, our tags is right here. This is how a document is tagged. So any accessible document has to be tagged. So certain elements have to have a specific tag, like text are tagged as text, images tagged as images, tables tagged as tables, forms tagged as forms. So all the different data types have to have a specific tag. So as you can see here, this is kind of complicated. It's pretty difficult to understand this. We make it a lot easier if you go to the reading order. Sorry, up here. If we go to the reading order tab, this kind of helps us make a lot more sense of it. The numbers imply what order the screen will be read in. So the first, it basically goes left to right, or top down, left to right. For English, that's the most logical way to do it, obviously. Yeah, so it'll set it'll guess at the reading order, and based on that, left right, bottom down, concept. But it's not always going to be accurate, because we set up our documents, in a specific way that it might not make sense. Or just again, like any automated task is going to have some degree of of mess up, right? So as you can see right here, there's a couple issues with the reading order. So right here we have the tag of the form fields. As the form field is the tag. They seem to be out of order. So it goes the tag and the next tag before. Logically you would want it to be the tag and then the form field, tag, then form field. So what we can do when we have issues like that, we can go to our, sorry, let me show you where logical reading order button right there. That'll open up this panel. And then we go show order panel. So the order panel is a little bit more of an easy to understand breakdown than that tags panel. Tags tag everything. This summarizes things in a little bit more clear of terms. So you see problems like the student name, and then it goes to this USCID. I would want it to go student name, and then obviously go to the field that the student name is or you're supposed to fill out. So right here, this is a little field tag. So student name, here's the student name with the text. So all you have to do is drag and drop it, and it'll change the reading order. And as you can see, it's now 10, 11. Before it was 10, 11 was over here. So yeah, so you just have to touch up those little problems that might occur. And again, this is going to happen in documents like this. They're complex documents that are different sizes of text, different placements of text. It's pretty hard to get it on the first guess, but normally the reading order is pretty accurate. As you can tell, most of these things are in a logical reading order. There's just a couple of places where you might need to get that middle. All right, there's a couple places where you might need to change it up. Like right here, there's a couple other ones. Let me get back to panel. Yeah, like right here we have some of the text is actually before some of the headings. Oh, I keep doing that, don't I? There we go. Yeah, so sorry, some of the headings are messed up with some of the text. So you could easily just change the order here. So this tag should be in front of that. Just drag and drop it right here. It'll repopulate and change it automatically. So yeah, so it's pretty easy to touch up these problems like that. But yeah, once you've actually verified that the reading order is accurate, and you do actually have to verify it. So see how it says needs manual check. You do have to at some point open this reading order panel and for the manual check to actually work. So yeah, there's some manual verification that has to happen. So once I figure that out, though, I can just click pass, and it'll pass manually because it's a manual check. Another thing that we need to keep an eye on is color contrast. So this is if we're talking about people with color blindness. The contrast is the contrast between the text background or the background and the text. So as you can see, it's you have some yellow on black, white on black, red on white, black on white, blue on white. So we have kind of a lot of different colors going on here. Students with sorry, excuse me. Students with color blindness could have difficulties when viewing these documents. So creating a proper contrast is necessary for making an accessible document. So how we do that? We do that in multiple ways. One way is going to our file section and going down to preferences. So this is how this is preferences for how documents can be viewed. So like all the documents that you're currently working on will actually be affected by these preferences. So it's good to keep in mind if you're got a lot of tabs open and things like that. So right here, the top one, or sorry, right here on the left, we see this accessibility tab. So once we go to that, it'll bring us to this, and we can see the top level is document color options. So this gives us an idea of what color options we have for a document. So yeah, we have a couple of options that are certified as accessible. Green text on black, so kind of the old way the internet used to work back in the day, or computers, that kind of bright green text on that dark black background. So that's an accessible, that's a proper contrast. Yellow text on black, high contrast as well. White text on black, and black text on white. So everything that's kind of very high contrast to each other. We can also set custom color. If you have specific colors that you're working with that are high contrast, you could set those custom colors. And you either have a couple of other options too for what text you want to change, whether or not you only want to change black text. So you might have different types of text like we do, or change text to line art and things like that. So different shapes and things might need to change those colors as well. All those can be changed automatically. So if I were to click replace document colors, it would shift the document colors. But because we have created because we're working on multiple documents that are very different, it would shift the colors a little bit, kind of crazy. So you can also just do a manual check of that, which is what they're asking for, or what the program is asking for. So this. So yeah, we can just manually check any text that might be improper. So remember, yellow on black is fine, white on black is fine. So this whole page should be okay. This is just white on black, so that's all right. But if you go up here, we do have a couple of places where we have the wrong color text. All I got to do is, of course, edit your text. Go to edit text object, and you can easily just format it to a proper color contrast color. There we go. All right, and yeah, the links can be changed as well. So yeah, you can just go to any place where you have text that's improperly colored and just change it up. Or again, just do the full preferences and it'll change all your text to a specific color, but it also change background sometimes, which is okay if you're, again, if this is for accessibility. Normally the things like background color don't really matter, just because people, don't necessarily get any information from your background color. So not super necessary. But yeah, so once we go back there, so we can go back to our accessibility tab or accessibility check tab, and we can actually check this one off as well. So let's pass that. Looks like we have one more issue down here in tables. So looks like page content's good, forms are all checked, alternative text. So that's the tags for the images, but it looks like tables has an issue. Looks like it has a couple issues actually. So first is headers. So all right, looks like this actually got picked up as a table. It is kind of a small table. So I'll show you how we can add these headers here. But like, yeah, if I don't know what this is, again, I can go to explain and it'll pop up my explanation again. So for accessibility, all tables must have a header, of course. If the check fails, verify it in the tags. And okay, so we can verify this in our tags again. So sorry. There we go. All right. So how do we do that? So what we can do here is go to our tags and look for our table. And so it's going to be the top right table. That's this one right here. It's got two table rows. So we can adjust that. So yeah, it looks like the first row is the data. That table row should actually should be a table header. Yeah, so it's kind of picking it up as incorrectly as a table. I mean, kind of depends on how you see a table. So this uses kind of HTML tag. So table row is tr, table th is table header. So you can just change that up by adding h there. And then yeah, we can go back to our accessibility checker. Let's take that again. Let's do the full check actually. Oh, sorry. Actually, I realized I'd made a mistake when I changed over the tags. Each one of these is supposed to actually have a it's supposed to be a row before it can be a header. So this was actually change this. That one to header. Yeah, each row each row has to be a row, obviously, for it to be a table. So yeah, I accidentally changed the wrong thing. So let's do that full check again. All right, looks like that passed. Yeah, so that worked properly. And yeah, so we have one more problem though, and that's with our summary. So each table has to have a summary. So if you were looking at a table, you normally kind of understand the general usage of that table, but for accessibility, it requires there to be a summary to kind of give the reader an idea of what that table is used for. The context of where it is might give you a better idea of without that information. So yeah, we need to include that. So what we could do here is go to our reading order and right click on our table. Actually, sorry, we could copy our table. Sorry, put a box around our table, then right click it, then go to edit table summary on our right click, and this will bring up an option to add a table summary. So reg table registration. All right, then looks like we have one more table down here, and just put a box around it, right click that table summary. All right. All right. Let's do full check again. Let's see if that fixed that. All right, there we go. All checked. Okay, so yeah, we looked through our documents. The headers were skipped because yeah, we addressed it manually. The lists look good, and the headings are all appropriately nested. So appropriate heading nesting is the headings are of specific types. So like when you in Word documents, when you create table of contents and things like that, they create headings. So yeah, it needs to make sure that they're nested properly underneath the right, or in front of or underneath the right text. So yeah, so that checks it all out. Yeah, so everything seems to be good. So once we have fully checked everything, we can check out our accessibility report, and it'll give us a idea of what things we have done with this document. So needs manual checks was the things that we checked manually. Skipped was the one rule. It was because that the headers were a little bit funky with that table. But you can skip if you logically understand that something is unnecessary. You can skip it rather than it slow down the process or anything like that. But yeah, then the 29 are passed. And yeah, so once we do one more full check here, and then it should download to our page. Should be able to go to my documents. All right, and here is our accessibility check. So yeah, it gives us a full breakdown of everything we've passed and everything we've done, everything we've anything we skipped if we had to. So yeah, these can be saved with your saved with your documents for verification of the accessibility functions have been met, and if anyone has requirements for certain classes or anything like that, this is great to keep in your files for later. But yeah, so that's the full process. This is a relatively simple document, kind of just to show you the tools in a brief demo. But there are a lot of advanced tools that go over a lot of other different features you might need, like multimedia, scripts, more advanced form field descriptions, so you can have actually add like tool tips and things like that. So when someone puts a mouse over it, they'll give a tip for what you're supposed to do for that form field. So yeah, a lot of different options. But yeah, so yeah, that's more or less the full gist though of the features. Yeah, I want to go back to our slides here. Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of yeah, sorry, a little quick to the ending there. But yeah, the that document is now made fully accessible. You actually, I forgot, wanted to show off one last thing here. One thing we do have built in is a screen reader. So if you don't have a JAWS type screen reader, you can just like activate screen read and start screen reading. Oh, I'm still on my accessibility function here. Let's end that. Sorry. Zoom panels are getting me. There we go.
The Pass-Fail program is designed to encourage students to investigate fields outside of their major curriculum in which they have
not
a
100% certain if
specific
you can hear all
personal
that right now,
interest
but yeah, the
without
screen reader
affecting their
will
grade point
walk
average.
through the document in the
The only
logical reading
grades
order that you've
assigned on
set.
courses taken under the
Oh, yeah.
Pass-Fail option.
There we go. Yeah, so it's a built-in screen reader that helps in cases where someone doesn't have that screen reader available. They are a purchase for accessibility. They're can be a little expensive sometimes. So I know it's kind of a having an option that's built in is definitely going to save you a little bit of time and money. But yeah, so that's kind of the extent of our document accessibility tools. I want to open up to some questions here. It looks like we have some in the QA. Let's see if we can address these. So how do you know what you're marking as decorative? Oh yeah, so when we're going through the accessibility check, it'll show where the image is being considered, or sorry, what image you're marking as decorative or as an alternative text. So let's see if I can do it again. I already marked them as decorative, so I won't do it again. But it will sometimes pick up things that are decorative. Nor it'll focus on the area that it's supposedly looking at something. So if you don't see a highlighted area like you would over an actual image, like I don't know if you saw, but when we looked at when we looked at this logo, it was right, it's right now actually. So yeah, when we look at this logo, it's actually highlighted. So yeah, you do need to find like the highlighted area, because that's where it's saying where the image is. If you really can't see it, it's probably picked up some small dot as an image, or some line that might already be highlighted, so it might be difficult to see. But yeah, it should show this blue highlight over the images that are being considered, and it's up to you to decide whether or not it's decorative. All right. Great. Okay.
All right. That's a very comprehensive discussion, Daniel, there. But I think there were already some of the questions were already answered by our
Oh,
colleague Charles and Alex.
sorry about that.
But there are still some questions that they would like us to pay attention to. Like, are we working with, or are we working to integrate math jacks for PDFs?
Math jacks. We don't currently have an integration, I don't believe. I'll check on that to see if we have anything that is in the works right now. We do work to create more integrations, especially when we find education cases. We work with our R&D team to create those. So I'll look in to see if anyone's started a math jacks integration, but I'm not aware of one currently.
Okay. And can we scan or documents or image files with text made possible into accessible PDFs?
Yeah, so you can actually take a document from a scanned document, an image of a document, or like a JPEG or a PNG, and actually turn it into a accessible document with editable text. So yeah, our optical character recognition tool does pretty good job with finding any text in a document and converting it to either searchable, meaning you can like search it through your file system, or a keyword search on Foxit, or changing into editable text. So you can actually take a document from a scanned image and make it editable text that you can change the color of the text or the actual content of it. So yeah, you could totally take a scanned or picture of a document and turn it into a accessible PDF.
And I think there is another question. I know we um made or have a sample of the screen reading, but where is this screen reading feature located again?
Yeah, no problem. So the screen reading feature is in our view tab, and then you go down here to read, and then it has some options. So you have volume, speed of reading, activate, reactivate, read current page, read from current page. It'll just go through the whole document, and then pause and resume. Right.
All right, and before we end this webinar event, we have one more request for everyone. We have a survey link sent in the chat. Feel free to answer them right after this webinar, just so this will help our Foxit team identify what else to improve, or if there are other situations that you would like to be attended with. And once again, anything else that you'd like to add before we end this webinar event, Daniel?
Yeah, sorry, I just saw one more question about tags on the table on page 3.
Yep.
Yeah, so some headers will actually get picked up as a header. You won't have to tag every single header in a table. So like the more well-defined tables that are like kind of standard table type, this one's a little bit of a simple table, just two or column table. It'll pick up the tags pretty easily. But yeah, so that's why I didn't have to show you for that.
Okay. Well, once again, we would like to thank everyone who's with us in this exciting webinar discussion. There's a lot more to talk to, and definitely someone from Foxit team will reach out to you to possibly move forward this conversation. Feel free to give it a try. There are links in there that was provided, so you'll be able to take a look at it yourself. And if there are follow-up questions, we are more than willing to discuss that with you individually. Once again, thank you so much, everyone, for your time and for joining us in our webinar event today. Once again, this is your Foxit software team, wishing you all guys a happy afternoon. Thank you, everyone. We are now ending our webinar event.